Hi there, I'm Beth, and this week I'm delighted to be joining my dream team in a wintry Blythe doll collaboration. Please check out J Dolls UK, Peacecraft Dolls, and Dolls Rescued, who are joining me with videos of their own. Jay, Tammy, Marna, and myself will each be making one or more winter-themed accessories for our Blythe dolls this Christmas. I was quite keen to put together a nice winter cape for mine and looked online for some stylish inspiration pictures. I remembered seeing an amazing smart doll cape on Maruku Halo's website and just love all the snap fastening details and the open areas for the arms. I went looking online for a free cape pattern to get me started and came across this Makey doll cape. I remembered they are a similar sized doll to Blythe, so followed the pattern to this website. The original link is broken, so you'll find it further down the page here. I just wanted some rough pattern shapes, so I lazily traced the pieces directly from my computer screen onto paper. I was then able to tidy up my line work and cut out these pattern pieces. The Blythe, who'll be modelling my cape, was already wearing a hat, so I used that to zoom in and scale the pattern on my computer screen before tracing the cape hood. With all my paper pattern pieces ready, I started to think about what kind of details to add and considered making a split in the back of the cape. I decided instead to add a little belt piece with some studs there. I really want to pack a lot of detail into this cape, so I plan to add some shoulder straps with metal rings and perhaps pockets too. I chose a lovely black wool fabric for my cape, traced around my pattern pieces, and outlined them with fray check, allowing it to dry before cutting out the pieces. I also looked out some ribbon and made wire D-rings and cut out some pieces for added detail for later. Starting with the centre front pieces, I've used double-sided quilting tape to turn those edges in. I want to create an overlap between the front and middle pieces, so realised that I need to add some extra material to the pattern to allow me to turn those edges under as well. The front, centre and middle pieces will only be stitched together at the top here. The rest will be left open for the doll's arms to poke through. Once I had recut the front pieces, I used the tape again to fold and hold the long edges. I wasn't able to find any complete instructions for this pattern, so I'm just trying to work it out myself. It seems the narrowest pieces attached to the back, and then the middle and then the front pieces. In an effort to highlight all the detail in my cape, I decided to use a grey thread for all my top stitching to have it show up nicely. I top stitched the long edges of the two front pieces separately. Here's where I am so far. I'll need to decide on my front panel placement and hem the lower edges of each piece. I realised I want the top pieces overlapped on the inside of the cape, and also cut out the ribbon shoulder straps so I can add them on as well. I'm really pleased with the cape so far. I think the shoulder details look super cute and kind of military styled. The back of the cape looks a little plain to me, so I'm considering adding a couple of pin tucks for decoration before I add the back belt. I mark the lines out with chalk before folding the edge and stitching. I use the iron to press them inward to the centre back, then top stitch a simple rectangle shape for the belt. I'm also going to make 2 fake pocket flaps for the front of the cape using the same kind of rectangle shapes. Here are my pockets. I'm going to top stitch them directly onto the cape. I'm going to attach little decorative rivets to the pockets and back belt. I think they'll look really good. Here, all my rivets are hammered on. I also decided to add them at the point where the front flaps of the cape split open. They add a little extra reinforcement. Next, I'm going to start on the hood. I've marked where I want to leave a section open at the lower back for the doll's hair to poke out. I'll sew these 2 pieces together along the top curve, top stitch both sides, then hem the front seam. I just bought this little device here and I'm trying it out for the first time. Oh, it's quite good actually. It's meant for punching out notches on your pattern pieces when they need to match up. I'll press these seams before I top stitch them, and I'm going to use some more of that double-sided quilting tape too. Here's my top stitching, and I've also stitched on a little folded piece of ribbon with another D-ring. Once I hem this long edge, I'll gather up this curved edge and match it to the neckline of the cape. I'm careful to match the centre backs together and add pins as needed. Here I've pressed and top stitched that hem downward, and I'm really delighted with how it's looking. I think the more visible top stitching adds so much visual interest to this cape. Here I'm toying with the idea of waiting for some ornate clasp closures to arrive in the post, but I think I'll just go for some tiny snap fastenings this time. After that, I'm going to hand stitch on some of this super fluffy fake fur yarn. I love the different colours in this one, and I think it adds a lovely wintry touch to this cozy wool cape. And there we go! I chose antique bronze snap fastenings to go with the rivets, and I'm really happy with how the fur trim turned out. I added my label in the centre back and I'm ready to try it on. My dear forest deer looks like a character straight out of a storybook, doesn't she? I absolutely love how this turned out and how it looks on her with the hood down and with the hood up. She just looks wonderful. I feel that I could have made the space in the back for her hair just a little bit longer because she has so much hair, but it does work. I'm so delighted with the results of today's Blythe Doll Winter Accessories collaboration. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Marna, Tammy and Jay have come up with for their videos. I'll have them all linked in the description box below, so please make sure you visit each of their channels. Please leave them a lovely comment and a like and consider subscribing. I would love to know what you thought of my sewing project today, so I hope you'll leave me a nice comment below as well. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to the newest supporters over on Patreon, Amy Morgan and Shevasaurus. Thank you all for your extra support over there, and thank you all for watching today. You'll find links in the description, and don't forget the cape pattern that I used was free as well, so go ahead and make your own cozy winter cape for your Blythe dolls this Christmas too. I'd love to see what you come up with. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and happiness in all of your winter celebrations. I'll see you again soon. Bye!